Hello there, very good evening and welcome to the news at 6, where we get you the day's top developing stories from across India and the world. Of course, at the moment, our focus really on Mumbai and the deluge that it's witnessing. We'll get you details of that in a bit, but first, the headlines. After the end of the Doklam standoff, government confirms Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit China for the BRICS summit in the first week of September. Modi to also visit Myanmar for a bilateral summit. Heavy rains bring Mumbai to a standstill. Large parts of the city witness flooding, traffic jams and disruption of local train schedules. Many flights are grounded or diverted as downpour reduces visibility at the airport. President Ramnath Kovind presents awards to sportspersons on National Sports Day. 29 sportspersons presented honours at a special function at Rashtrapati Bhavan. And China calls for restraint as North Korea unleashes its most provocative act so far. Fires a missile that flies over Japan and lands in the waters of the northern region of Hokkaido. The top story, the government today announced that Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit China for the upcoming BRICS summit in the first week of September. Along with China, Modi will also visit Myanmar for a bilateral summit with Myanmarese government. Meanwhile, Bhutan has welcomed the developments at Doklam and has in fact expressed hope that such incidents will not be repeated.
A day after India and Chinese ended the troop standoff on the Doklam border, the government on Tuesday announced that Prime Minister Narendra Modi will attend the BRICS summit in Xiamen on September 3rd. The Prime Minister will also have bilateral meetings with all member countries. The message indicates the government is happy at the manner in which the Doklam episode ended.
We have maintained our grace and we followed a mature diplomatic route to resolve the issue. At the same time, we maintained a firm ground posture also. So it's a combination of a firm ground posturing and a mature diplomatic endeavor that has brought about this welcome thing.
The Bhutan government, that was being bullied by the Chinese army in Doklam, also expressed relief. In a measured statement, Bhutan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs welcomed the withdrawal of the Chinese troops from its border. Bhutan said it hopes the end of the standoff contributes to the maintenance of peace and tranquility and status quo along the borders of Bhutan, China and India, in keeping with the existing agreements between the respective countries.
The Bhutanese government showed a lot of courage and restraint and a great deal of maturity under a lot of stress. Any statement beyond the initial statement that the Bhutanese made, which highlighted their concerns and their case, their basis. Since then, any statement that the Bhutanese government would have issued would have put them in a more difficult situation vis-a-vis both India and China.
The Prime Minister's visit to China is significant as this BRICS summit is being held after last year's Goa summit. The continuation of the standoff would have been difficult for Prime Minister Modi to take part in the Xiamen summit. At the last G20 summit in Germany, China denied formal meetings between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Chinese President Xi Jinping. This time around, it's China that's come up with a request for a bilateral meeting.
The type of confrontation off and on China picks up against India is against the spirit of BRICS. Doklam was the flashpoint, and it has shown the mirror that BRICS cannot survive if such confrontations goes on. It is better that China and other BRICS countries understand this reality. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha television with camera person Sudhanshu in Delhi.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday inaugurated several infrastructural projects worth over 15,000 crore rupees in Rajasthan's Udaipur district. Modi inaugurated 11 completed national highway projects and laid the foundation for 6 national highway projects covering a distance of about 556 kilometers. The projects included a 6-lane cable-stayed bridge across River Chambal at Kota. Addressing a public rally in Udaipur, the Prime Minister said that India will reach newer heights only with better infrastructure, railways and roads. He also assured that the centre will stand by the flood-affected people of the state. Ahead of the inauguration, Prime Minister Modi also visited an exhibition on national highways.
हमें काम करना है, समय सीमा में काम करना है और इसलिए एक साथ योजना बना करके 9,000 करोड़ रुपयों से ज्यादा लागत से नए कामों का आज शिलान्यास हो रहा है। और जब इतनी बड़ी जनमेदनी के सामने कार्यक्रमों की बात करते हैं तो पूरा करने के संकल्प के साथ करते हैं और मैं राजस्थान की धरती को विश्वास दिलाता हूं कि ये करके रहेंगे और राजस्थान की काया पलट होके रहेगी।
Now to Mumbai, which is experiencing a flood-like situation with major disruption in road, rail and air traffic since morning. A train accident was also reported in Asangao following a landslide triggered by heavy rains. The Met Department has predicted more heavy rains in the next 24 hours.
Heavy rains for the fourth day in a row brought Mumbai to a standstill on Tuesday. Large parts of the city witnessed flooding, sparking traffic snarls and impeding movement of local trains. People were seen wading through chest-high water and vehicles crawled through the flooded roads.
यहाँ पे हर साल का तकलीफ यही है कि हर साल यहाँ पे पानी पूरा भर जाता है।
बहुत तकलीफ हो रहा है आदमी लोग को, आने जाने का बहुत, ये बारिश में और तकलीफ होएगा।
Dozens of flights were grounded or diverted as the continuous downpour reduced visibility at the airport. With the Met Department warning of more heavy spells of intermittent rains in the next few hours, the situation is likely to worsen in Mumbai and its satellite cities.
Predictions were for last 1 week that the central India, that includes Gujarat, Maharashtra, Orissa, MP, all these states are going to get very good rainfall, and that is getting realized. And next 2 to 3 days, this activity is likely to continue. Thereafter, we will be able to see the reduction in the rainfall activity over a period of time.
The Maharashtra government issued an advisory telling citizens to step out of their homes only if necessary. The Mumbai police also asked people to avoid waterfronts due to the high tide. Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis visited the State Disaster Management Control Room to oversee the situation.
हमने लोगों को भी ये इत्तला दिया है कि लोग जितनी जल्दी हो सके अपने घरों की ओर लोग जाएं। मंत्रालय में भी हमने लोगों को ये सूचित किया है कि वो जल्दी जा सकते हैं। कई ऑफिसरों को भी ये कहा है कि वो जल्दी जा सकते हैं। और कुल मिलाकर इस परिस्थिति के ऊपर हम लोगों ने ध्यान रखा हुआ है। अभी और भी वेदर अलर्ट जो आ रहे हैं उसका भी विश्लेषण किया जा रहा है और उसके आधार पर लोगों को एडवाइजरीज जो है वो दी जाएगी और पूरी तरीके से लोगों को मदद की जाएगी।
Incessant rains triggered a landslide derailing the Nagpur-Mumbai Duronto Express between Vasind and Asangao stations in Maharashtra. The engine and 9 coaches of the train slipped off the tracks early morning.
Nagpur-Mumbai 12290 Duronto Express derailed between Vasind and Asangao station due to sudden landslide. Because the route was clear, few of the trains passed from the same route just a few minutes before. The driver did an excellent job on seeing the sudden landslide. He applied emergency brakes, and due to his presence of mind, I can say that the things have been saved.
This is the 4th train derailment in the country in a span of just 10 days, the last one being a local train in Mumbai's Andheri suburb on the 25th of August, in which 6 people were injured. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The Supreme Court has set aside the Gujarat High Court order which directed the state government on compensation for over 500 damaged religious sites in the 2002 riots. A bench comprising Chief Justice Deepak Mishra and Justice P.C. Pant allowed the Gujarat government's appeal challenging the High Court verdict that it should pay for reconstruction and repair works of religious structures damaged during the riots. In 2013, the Gujarat High Court had pulled up the state government for its inaction and negligence during the riots, which had led to large-scale damages to various religious structures. The court had ordered compensation for over 500 places of worship in the state on a plea by an NGO which in fact contended that 535 religious places were affected, of which 37 were yet to be repaired. More national news. Self-declared religious leader in Haryana, Sadhguru Ramji Maharaj, was found not guilty in connection with 2 criminal cases for lack of evidence. Rampal was arrested in 2014 after his ashram in Hisar, 170 kilometers northwest of Delhi, was stormed by policemen. His followers were armed with stones, lathis and guns. The self-styled godman was arrested after the long siege that included Rampal using devotees as human shields. At one point, thousands of them formed a human chain to protect him. Later, a case was registered against Rampal and his followers under sections 186, 332 and 353 of the Indian Penal Code. The police wanted to arrest Rampal after he ignored more than 40 summons to appear in court for a case where he is charged with murder. In 2006, he allegedly ordered his supporters to fire on a group of villagers, leaving 1 dead and 6 injured. A verdict in that case has yet to be delivered, along with judgments on cases of rioting and criminal conspiracy. The Sadhguru heads a sect that worships the 15th century poet and mystic Kabir, who is known for a message of tolerance.
न्याय मिला, ये सत्य की जीत है। संत रामपाल दास जी महाराज ने सदैव कहा है कि सत्य परेशान हो सकता है, सत्य पराजित कभी नहीं हो सकता। ये न्याय की जीत है, सत्य की जीत है। आज 426/14, 427/14 जो FIR थी, उसमें संत रामपाल दास जी महाराज और उनके साथ जो अनुयायी थे, जिनको बंद करके रखा हुआ था, उन सभी को बाइज्जत कोर्ट ने, हिसार कोर्ट ने बरी कर दिया गया है।
6 MPs, including 5 from the All India Trinamool Congress and 1 from the Congress, took oath as Rajya Sabha members on Tuesday. Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu administered the oath of office to the newly elected members from West Bengal. Deputy Chairman P.J. Kurian, Leader of the House Arun Jaitley and MOS Parliamentary Affairs Minister were also present on the occasion. While 5 of them took oath in Bengali, 1 member from the AITC, Shanta Chetri, took an oath in Nepalese.
श्रीमती शान्ता छेत्री राज्य सभाको सदस्य निर्वाचित भएको हुनाले
We want to say a very special thank you to the Honorable Vice President and Chairman of Rajya Sabha, Venkaiah ji. Thank you for being here. Special thank you also to our Deputy Chairman for being here, Professor Kurian. And we're also very honored and happy and privileged that the Leader of the House, Arun ji, is here with us.
We extend our heartfelt congratulations to Sri Venkaiah Naidu ji for being elected as the Honorable Vice President of India and also the Chairman of Rajya Sabha. Thank you so much.
And here are more updates from across the country in Nationwide. Authorities in Sirsa in Haryana relaxed curfew from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. after no violence incidents were reported in the area following the sentencing of Dera Sacha Sauda Chief Gurmeet Singh. On Monday, the CBI Special Court sent him to jail for 20 years in 2 rape cases. The Haryana government has also sent a report on the Dera violence last week to the centre. The Punjab and Haryana High Court, meanwhile, has asked the 2 states to submit a list of Dera's properties and assets which can be attached. Sidelined AIDMK leader TTV Dinakaran today approached the Election Commission saying that the poll panel should hear him out before taking any decision on the party's election symbol. While the Palanisamy and the OPS factions have ended their differences, the symbol issue is likely to continue in the EC for some time as the Sasikala camp is still opposed to the merger. In a directive sent to all IITs and central universities, the HRD ministry has asked to host patriotic music bands as part of the government's drive to mark 70 years of India's independence and 75 years of the Quit India movement. The music bands are being identified and deputed by the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting through NFDC. The directive also says that since the bands will be playing patriotic tunes, suitable decorum should be maintained. President Ram Nath Kovind presented the National Sports Awards at Rashtrapati Bhavan today. The awards included Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna, Arjuna, Dronacharya, Dhyan Chand, Tenzing Norgay National Adventure Award 2017 and the Maulana Abul Kalam Azad Trophy. The Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna was conferred to para-athlete Devendra Jhajaria and former hockey captain Sardar Singh, while Arjuna Awards were presented to 17 sportspersons, which included cricketers Harmanpreet Kaur and Cheteshwar Pujara, boxer Laishram Devendra Singh, footballer Oinam Bembem Devi, golfer SSP Chaurasya and para-athlete Mariappan. The Dronacharya Awards were also given to 7 coaches. Apart from a medal and a citation, Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna awardee received a cash prize of 7.5 lakh rupees, while Arjuna, Dronacharya and the Dhyan Chand awardees received statuettes, certificates and a cash prize of 5 lakh rupees each. International news now, and North Korea's launching of a missile over Japan on Tuesday morning has elicited a strong reaction from world leaders. The US and Japan have vowed to increase pressure on Pyongyang, while Russia said that it was extremely worried about the situation in North Korea. US and the South Korea have also agreed to consider tougher sanctions against the North following the launch.
The Japanese government's J alert system activated early on Tuesday morning, prompting warnings for residents to take cover after North Korea fired a ballistic missile over the country's northern Hokkaido island and into the sea. In a phone call with the US President, Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe vowed to increase pressure on North Korea. Denouncing the launch, Abe said it was an unprecedented and grave threat to his country's security.
我が国としてはこのように繰り返される北朝鮮の同行した挑発行動を断じて容認できず、北朝鮮に対し厳重に抗議を行い、最も強い表現で断固非難しました。政府としては国連安保理の場を含め、米国及び韓国を含む関係国と緊密に連携して対応するとともに、被害状況の確認を行うなど、国民の安全・安心の確保のために必要な対応に万全を期してまいりたいと思います。
Well, again, it's another provocation by North Korea. It just seemed to continue to happen. This is a big concern, of course, to my government, to a number of other governments.
The US and Japan have also agreed to call for an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council to discuss the situation. Tuesday morning's test is being seen as one of the most provocative ever from Pyongyang. This missile has also flown further than any other tested by North Korea.
추가적인 도발을 중단할 것을 경고한다. 우리 군의 엄중한 경고에도 불구하고 북한이 도발을 또다시 감행한다면 우리 군과 한미 동맹의 단호하고 강력한 응징에 직면하게 될 것이다.
The regime's only remaining ally, China, has called for restraint, warning that the situation on the Korean peninsula had reached a tipping point.
朝鲜利用弹道导弹技术进行发射活动的安理会的决议是有明确的规定的。在当前的形势下，中方敦促有关各方呢不要再做相互刺激、加剧地区局势紧张的事情。我们希望各方呢都要保持克制，共同的维护半岛的和平与稳定。
The launch of the latest intermediate-range Hwasong-12 demonstrates North Korea's willingness to raise the diplomatic stakes by sending a missile directly over Japanese territory. The Hwasong-12 is the same type of missile North Korea recently threatened to launch towards Guam. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
US President Donald Trump will visit storm-ravaged Texas later today as Harvey continues to pummel the region with a record-breaking 50 inches of rain. At least 9 people have been killed since Harvey made landfall on Friday. Meanwhile, 2 Indian students were rescued in a critical condition after they nearly drowned in a swollen lake in Texas. Over 200 Indian students are stranded at the University of Houston due to floods and were also evacuated to safer places.
Rescue efforts in Houston and nearby areas were hampered on Monday as tropical storm Harvey continued to batter southeast Texas with heavy rain and floods for the 4th day in a row. Up to 24 inches of rainfall was expected to fall by Saturday, further worsening the situation. While Houston witnesses an average annual rainfall of 50 inches, the city has seen 25 inches of rainfall since Harvey made landfall near Brockport on Friday evening. In scenes evoking the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina in 2005, Police and Coast Guard teams rescued more than 3,000 people, plucking many from rooftops by helicopter. The flood situation is also likely to worsen as 2 reservoirs were opened to keep water from jumping dams and surging into homes. A flood warning has been issued in cities from San Antonio to New Orleans that are home to more than 13 million people. Authorities have warned that over 30,000 people across the region could be forced out of their homes by the time weather clears this week. Over 5,500 people have taken temporary shelter in Houston. While death estimates vary, at least 9 people, including a family of 6, are confirmed killed by the storm.
I've never been through anything like this bad before. I was so worried about the kids.
We're already crowded, but all they said that we're getting 800 more people. And it's like, what? Where are they going to put us all? You know, what about us from Corpus? What are we going to do? And FEMA's here right now, but the line is enormous. Yesterday, we were in line for 3 hours and couldn't even see FEMA. So I don't know what's going to happen. Buses just keep rolling in.
U.S. President Donald Trump on Monday chaired cabinet meetings and pledged quick action to authorize disaster relief. Trump is scheduled to visit Texas on Tuesday.
More than 8,500 federal workers are involved in the Texas effort alone. I've also today declared emergencies in Louisiana at the request of Governor Edwards. Recovery will be a long and difficult road, and the federal government stands ready, willing and able to support that effort.
There is a reality that we have to come to grips with, and that is we are just beginning the process of responding to this storm. We are still involved in the search and rescue process. Our number one goal from Corpus Christi all the way to east of Houston is still protecting and preserving life and rescuing every person that we can find.
At least 200 Indian students stranded at the University of Houston due to the catastrophic flooding were evacuated to safer places. 2 Indian students are reported to be in a condition after they were rescued from a swollen lake in Texas where they had gone swimming. Harvey is the first Category 4 storm to hit the U.S. mainland in almost 12 years. It could destroy as much as $20 billion in insured property, making it one of the costliest storms in the history of U.S. insurers. According to experts, Houston, a major center for the country's energy industry, has already suffered billions of dollars in damage and would take years to fully recover. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, 5 people were killed and several others injured as a suicide bomber blew himself up near a bank not far from the U.S. Embassy in Kabul on Tuesday. Afghanistan's Interior Ministry has confirmed the suicide bombing. No group has claimed responsibility yet. The U.S. Embassy compound is located about 500 meters down the road from the Kabul bank. Security personnel have cordoned off the blast area for precautionary measures.
حمله توسط انتحار کننده که واسکت مملو از مواد انفجاری در به بدن داشت صورت گرفته و متاسفانه در این حمله 5 تن تا اکنون شهید گزارش شده و 8 نفر مجروح. در کل تمام شهدا و مجروحین افراد ملکی هستند که مجروحین به شفاخانه انتقال شدند.
And that's all we have for you on the news at 6. Thanks so much for joining us. Coming up next is the big picture.